great distraction. We'll try to get this in here. Let's see what we got. See if we can adjust this camera up just a little bit more. Yeah, get all of the baldness. Yeah. If you're doing well where you're at, just kind of getting the live stream going here. Had a student reach out just right before the feedback loop, so I wanted to give them a chance to get in. I always try to move things around. We're not, we can adjust the schedule as needed, right? Right. Anyway, watching for Couchbot the fire over here. One good thing we'll point out as we're getting started, Luigi dropped in there's an event that's happening. Not that I know what day of it's the 5th, so next week on the 10th, that should be like a Tuesday or something. There's a 24 hours of UX. It's a global conference going on. Luigi brought it to our attention. He dropped it in the general channel. Be sure to go check that out. Lots of great speakers, including this guy. Yeah. I want to say it's Jeff Goth Elf, but I know that is not he's not a goth elf, but it's literally Goth Elf. Anyway, but Jeff is speaking. Jeff, Lean UX, great book. It came out like in 2013 though. I think they've probably released an update for that by this point. Relatively light morning. Eve's here, Rebecca's here, Melanie's coming in a bit hot at the end. We're still trying to see. Got a file issue there, and Couchbot's fired. Shots fired. Couchbot has fired. So let's get it another way. Greetings one and all. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop, and we've got a interesting slate of projects to look at, moving in a lot of different directions. Rebecca's here she's working on her portfolio. Eve is working on Fresh Market. I believe Melanie is also working on a case study as well. So we're going to be kind of looking, I guess two of these are portfolio related. So let's go ahead and get it underway. And as I mentioned a minute ago, there is if you go into Discord, really cool thing that was posted by Luigi, this 24 hours of UX. I really would highly recommend, although the design is not so much. So it gets better when you get down further. I'm not sure about that. But if you, it looks like you can, it's a free event, so you can jump in for any or all of it. And this is basically just around the planet, looks like whatever lunchtime might be in that particular area. So you can go from, although this is kind of odd, Budapest and Brisbane, so maybe something is in the evening. But anyway, look at the schedule. Lots of great things, lots of great speakers from around the world. Beijing participating, Nairobi. Nairobi has an interesting design scene. If you're not familiar, you may not think of, hey, Nairobi, but Nairobi is one of the big cities that Figma focused on in their international expansion a couple of years back. So Nairobi's getting a little love there. Anyway, let's jump into it. We've got Eve, and Eve is basically just kind of submitting this to take a look at the progress. This is her Healthy Eats project. And it says on the plans page, is the selection, meal size, and number of meals clear enough, or does the toggle and price cards relationship need to be optimized? So let's go over here to plans. Let's move that down here. Oh, by the way, somebody asked the other day, and I forget who it was, how I do the switching. 3 fingers. Side to side on my on trackpad, and that's how I switch around. Also to do that little movement, it's 4 fingers up, and these are things like they're not super user things, but they are interactions that aren't obvious. There's nothing on the trackpad that tells you to do that. So when you do not feel like you're asking a dumb question, if you ever see me do something, you're like, how are you doing that? Don't ever think that it's a dumb question, because there's nothing on your trackpad that says this four finger swipe up is going to get you to a broader view. Nothing on the trackpad labels that, and that's one of the issues with swipe interactions is it's kind of a learned action. You have to, and it's not, it's like, it's one of the reasons why Snapchat is so hard to get into as a interface, because so much of it is hidden interaction. And we could talk for days on hidden interaction, but somebody had asked about those two specific things in the last couple of days, so I figured I would try to document that here and mention it. Let's go over and look at Eve's. Again, it's the plans page, and I want to say plans is here. Yeah, okay, so here's plans, and I want to, well, am I reading that right? Plans page, in the selection of meal size and number of meals, clear enough. Okay, so let's turn that off so we can see it. So here's the plans page. So we have meal size. So I want regular or large. So I'm thinking I select that. One thing that might be interesting here is this is kind of a order. So like, I think maybe it's first step 1, select your meal size. Are you looking for regular size meals, or are you looking for large size meals? And I do think that you've done a good job saying dinner for two, or dinner tonight and lunch the next day. I think that helps identify, like, what are we saying by regular size meals. But I think, step 1, select the meal size. Step 2, select the number of meals each week or per week. I think that would help identify what exactly, because I could see a lot of people just going, oh, okay, well, I want 3 meals, and never thinking to change the actual meal size. So I could see that as being an issue. And a lot of that is just language. I don't think you need like another box. Like, it's not like you need another box around here. It's just like identifying that this is, like, if you said step 2, number of meals, select number of meals per week that you want, or select the number of meals per week. So if it said step 1, that would indicate that I have a, like, if I see step 2, that means I've missed a step. So I think that would give you greater connectivity between the two. I think that's the question that you're looking for there. I hope. I just want to kind of look around. Yeah, some of this, it's weird. Some of this may be related to it's so wide currently that it feels like its own selector, and maybe if it was narrower, it would somehow feel like a preceding step. So, a couple of things to think about there. I think you can get there with language, though, and again, microcopy. It is the glue that holds websites together, and so I would look at microcopy first. But I would also say that, perhaps it's the fact that it's so neatly aligned that it feels like it's a different thing. So think about that. Let's look at the other bits that you have here. on the menu page, the wireframes didn't include an info window interaction when the user clicks on a dish photo. Should I include one in the hi-fi prototype? And sorry, trying to get an idea what this freshly thing is. Oh yeah, so it's like you click on it and it like zooms in, or it like gives you a popover modal sort of thing. Okay, and this is on the menu page. Let's zoom out here. Yeah, I do think that if that's an interaction, that's actually a good interaction to have, Eve. Um, I would go ahead and do it. Um, I don't necessarily think that you have to do it for each of these. Like, it's like on the menu selection, cart. Yeah, it seems like a menu deep. Like it's either like if I click on panko crusted chicken, crusted fish sticks, I'm gonna get one of two things. I'm either going to get some sort of detail view of it, like it's going to take me to its own page, or I'm going to get a popover with some sort of controls so that I stay on this page, but I can see more details about it. I can add it to my list or whatever. Right now I look at this and the trouble I've got, it's really nice. It looks nice. It looks nice. I'm not sure how to add these to my cart, basket, order, whatever. I mean, these are here. So if there's not that detail view, we're probably missing a step. And I'm just going to zoom out to see. Yeah, so I can select the number of meals I want, and that's great. Like this makes me believe that like if I said I wanted meals, I'm just getting these. I'm not getting like I can't say I want 2 of the shrimp pad thai and 1 of the flank steak tacos. Okay, so I would definitely carry that forward. It's going to make it a lot more functional than it is currently. Um, so yeah, I would make that adjustment. I do like overall. Yeah, okay. So the menu selection is down here. Yeah, I don't think that I can. I don't think that I can. And obviously, a lot of your shapes that are going on over here, I think are probably gonna be reused over here on menu selection. So that's good. You've got those components going. Um, but I don't necessarily think that I'm just going to want. I don't think a user is going to want to just select their meals just based on the picture and the name alone. They're going to want that detail. So you might as well have the detail. Okay. All right. So I would make those adjustments, and off you go. Yeah, you're good. Okay, Rebecca's got some questions as well. Oh goodness. Okay, that's fantastic. Rebecca's just mentioning that there is a. Oh, okay. So CodePen needs to stack responsively. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. Let's go take a look at that now. But Rebecca was just stating that she had a agency had reached out to her previously that ghosted, basically like poof, never heard from them again. And now, as the economies are reopening, the agency has been back in touch. Oh, hey, we're just checking in on your availability, as if zero time has passed. It's like they had a conversation with her yesterday, even though it was 3 months ago. Folks, welcome to the weirdness that is pandemic land freelancing or pandemic land working, a lot of people, it's as if their operations froze in time. It's like an instant freeze happened, and now they are slowly thawing back out. And when they wake up, they're like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing? Did we talk yesterday?" And it's like, "No, we talked 90 days ago." It's That's the place that we're at in the hiring cycle. The good news is we're hiring. The economy's opening up. We just had a jobs report this morning. 3 million instead of for the first time since March. We didn't lose millions of jobs. We actually added millions of jobs. So that's good. That's a good sign. Things are beginning to happen again. So be aware that there's going to be some weird conversations coming from people that were hiring and then they just stopped and now they're, hey, we need to hire. That's fine. If Tedgel, if you're watching this, that's a good sign for you. As your target was April, and that happened to be like basically when the world locked up. Nothing you could do about that. But now with these calls coming in, and it is important. Like I'm hearing it from Luigi, I'm hearing it from Rebecca, I'm hearing it from Lisa. Like there are opportunities out there. Katie, this is a good thing for you as well. Actually, it's a good thing for everybody. I think I like jobs. Jobs are good. I like for my people to earn money. Okay, so Rebecca, let's take a look at this. You're on my click shift, and we're working on this quote thingy design. So we're gonna take a look at this as we go down. Let's see what you got. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you want the content over the photo. That's okay. And let's see what we've got. We're just painting all up on his face. You get the face paint. Inspect elements. Okay, so oh yeah. I see what's going on. So this quote image, like you've got this background image, that's great. All that really needs to so this is in quote. So the section's quote. This is the quote image, and then this is a section, and then you've got the H3 over there. All right. So I'm going to structure this a little differently because the way that quote is working right now, it's working with grid, right? And this is fine. Just the way it's functioning. But what I want to do is I want to basically put quote image inside of a div so that it's quote div quote image, and then I'm going to create a div for just to house that content of his name and the paragraph text, because right now the name and paragraph text are on top of the image. And this is something I didn't show you yesterday because I was just kind of showing you, oh, here's how to make a circle. Okay. And that got you that far, but I didn't show you how to structure this so that it stacks. So let's do that. My bad for not taking you all the way there. All right, so let's come back over here and let's go ahead and close up some of these so that we can find our way back down to the quote. That's footer, container, product, pivot, quote. Okay, so here, we're going to pull this image out, and what we're going to do is we're going to create another div, and I really don't have to do anything to this div. It's just like a shipping container to put that information in, and it needs to reside below quote image. So when we look at this, it's gonna look all busted. Okay, so it's like now the quote is underneath the image, and if we if we come out, I mean, nothing really changes because we don't have any media queries here, obviously. But this is CSS Grid trying to do what you've told it, what you've done. I've given you a div, and I've given you another div, and I've given you a third div. You're giving me 3 divs. I got 4 spaces. What's going on? So to make this work, I need to have a div here that's going to wrap this information. And by this information, I mean the image and the text that goes with the image. So now when we look at it, it's stacked. All right? Div, div, inside of a div, and then the quote to the side. Now, that works great here. I do want you to go in and do some work on the spacing here. That's a little horsey sauce. Horsey sauce. I like horsey sauce. Arby's. However, we want this to stack differently for mobile. Like for mobile, and I say that, but I'm you know, it's not impossible to do it this way. Let's yeah, it gets a little long, right? It gets a little long. It's also sticking right there, and I don't know why. I will say that my mouse is acting a little weird this morning. But yeah, it's basically 1 by 1. It's not great. So if we wanted this to restructure itself, like this content on top, and so the first thing we need to do is we need to say, okay, I need a media query for this quote, and I need that media query to basically say 1FR, so that this happens. All right. Although that's not a great thing because 1FR, like I've got the centered text, and then I've got this photo, and then like what's really happening here. But let's come back over here and let's look at quote. Let's go into your style. Let's find quote. Okay, so there's quote, right? And left quote image. Don't think we need that. Let's grab this. So here's media query for quote. And so this is where we could flip some things around. So it's going to be, we're just going to say it's 1FR when it's below that size, and it will be 1FR, 3FR when it's above that size. So that's the first adjustment we're going to make. For quote, we come back over, and now, oh, it's because I've got I've got everything messed up. Oh gosh, man, I don't know. I do not know why the mouse is so bad today. All right. Like my trackpad is completely locked up. So now it's stacking. When we bring it out, it's not stacking. So stacking, stacking, not stacking. So when it's stacking, now the thing that we need to do is we need to flip this to go below, and that's going to be quote. Might be good to give this a quote ID, and I don't mean to give an ID, so I want it to be usable throughout your site. But we'll say quote info or quote about, quote speaker, like we can call it all sorts of things. But this section, this quote will be, it'll be dot quote, or well, no, we'll just give it a class. We'll just give it a class because we need to give this an area. We need to say, okay, this is a quote area, or this is a grid area, so that these two things reorder one another. Reorder. So we'll say a dot quote about, and this will be grid area ID, and I think, yeah, I think I just need to do that, and then quote image will be, and quote image is this quote image. We also need, I'm going to put this ahead. There's grid area, quote about, and then dot quote text, and this grid ID should be, or grid area should be, I'm just going to call it quote, and this will be about. Okay, so now I'll get rid of this as well. Now we've got this in grid template columns. We could say grid template areas, and here we'll come in and say, we'll say quote, and then we'll say about. And I always have to double check my syntax here. I always screw this up. But these two should stack. We do need to add this, cancel. We do need to add these designations to those divs. So this is class equals quote about, and this is, you know, I could put it in a div, or I could just add it to the h3. I think I'm just going to add it to the h3. Class equals quote content. Believe that's what I said it was. No, quote text. Okay, save it. So now it's stacking, and when we come out, it's still stacking. Okay, it's like, well, what the hell's happening? Well, it's because we've now got this design set up for a stack over here in the style.css, but we haven't, and oddly enough, folks, I did it right the first time, but we haven't reset that up for here, which says I need about to be in the first FR, first column, and then I need the quote to be in the second. So now, you know, we've got these grid areas, and basically these grid areas are set up so that this content will flip around responsively. So now there's this, and then when we come in, it stacks. Okay? Now, Rebecca, I need you to get in here and do some styling on this to figure out, do you want the image to center? Do you want this content to center? This is where that double line, that FR, kills you, because when you do the, not FR, BR, when you put a physical break in here, that can't be, that this just doesn't play nice when things change in size. So we need to figure out what you want to do there, because I understand why the FR is there. The FR is there to make sure that this breaks appropriately. But look at the length here. I think it's important to see the length of it says front end. That's never going to get up here. It's never going to get up there. Like, so you don't need the break. You just don't need it. Okay. So get in here. Let's make some adjustments there, and I will push that code up so you've got it. But now this is stacking appropriately. So let's go ahead and push that before I forget, because if there's anything I forget to do, it's push code. Okay, so I'm looking for you to like refine the styling there, but now it stacks. It's not just CSS; it's also HTML grid structure, and I can't emphasize this enough. Your CSS is only going to do what your HTML is going to allow it to do, and one of my favorite videos that I've ever made is pointing out that, hey, that CSS that you say is broken, it's actually just underdeveloped HTML. So there's that. I'm going to leave that there. And I think that was, Rebecca, I think that was your main question. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you've got a list of freelance opportunities there. All right, I'll circle back on that. It looks like Melanie is back. Oh yay! She gave me a chance to. Sometimes I have to ask for access to these files. But Melanie has shared with us her latest. And it says here, I've added a little more background, a bit more background about the Trial Spark business model. I also updated the problem statement. Not sure if technology has advanced faster than regulation. It's too vague. I'm also not sure if I should address the fact that PIs need to sign off on both electronic and paper forms. I didn't get into detail about this in the document uploads, but document uploads was a feature that we rolled out when I first started. The idea was that PIs would sign paper forms, then upload the signed copy. All right, let's take a look at what you got. So now although I just kind of want to look at it. Can I just look at it? Yeah. Thank you, Google. Thank you. All right. I'm not sure why it's not really. I just wanted to be in the pragmatic version of it. There we go. So, she said she added some. Okay, she said, I added some stuff in yellow. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to focus on link to research. Okay, so we're going to focus on this news section up here. Although I'm not sure why that's also red. Maybe you've highlighted that. So we're getting into the context area. And it says Trial Sparks. This looks duplicated. There's clearly some difference between the two because I can tell that there's a length difference. TrialSpark brings clinical trials to the local doctor's office. Traditionally, clinical research is conducted in large academic hospitals and universities. This means patients who don't live in cities near these institutions often never learn about or have access to clinical trials that directly target their disease. TrialSpark helps to diversify access by assembling a team of remote researchers who travel directly to doctors' local practices to conduct clinical research. And then the other version of it basically is TrialSpark helps to diversify access by assembling a team of roaming researchers optimized by software data and technology to create clinical trials within existing practices. Um, Either one works. I think the phrase roaming helps a lot. Um, if you want to say optimized by software data technology, you could add that too. Um, the existing practices is less clear than travel directly to doctors' local practices. I mean, I think you mean existing doctor practices in the second one, but so it's kind of a combination of the two. Where you choose to go with it is up to you. But I do think that there are bits of each that could be added to make it better. Um, but yeah, so look at that. So with this new model comes its challenges. Aligning CRC and PI schedules. Keep in mind she's identified CRC and PI right here at the top. So I think she's done a good job of that. Aligning CRC and PI schedules. I just want to make sure that okay, that's where we were. TrialSpark research coordinators are not permanently stationed at one site, often traveling to multiple. I would say often traveling to multiple sites in a week. I realize you're saying site twice, but it's just to add clarity, which makes aligning schedules with PIs especially difficult. Working with research native sites. Doctors who participate in TrialSpark studies do not have dedicated daily research personnel, nurses, residents, students, disease specialists to carry out the enormous workload involved with conducting studies. This puts an unfair burden on CRCs. CRCs, again, are clinical research coordinator. To carry out administrative and communication responsibilities normally delegated to PIs and other research staff. 3, getting PIs to use TrialSpark technology independently. TrialSpark PIs are not accustomed to using clinical research software, further relying on research coordinators' help. Okay, so I don't really have a lot to add there. I think it's pretty clear. A schedule issue, the lack of specialists and basically personnel for doctors who are participating. So this is like I'm going to an office and then I'm going to a remote site where a PI and a subject and all these visits. On average, TrialSpark CRCs are assigned 2 to 3 sites. Each site has designated PI and 3 to 5 enrolled subjects. Each subject has around 20 visits in a given study. Each visit has 15 forms that require signatures. Oh my God. PI is responsible for 300 forms per subject, 900 forms per site. So this is this is the key. This is the nugget. And I think that I would make a reference to the, in total, this project is meant to save our primary investigators and CRCs somewhere between 1,800 and 2,700 hours of wasted effort. if you could find a way, so roll and duration, this meant optimizing efficiency without compromising safety data, patient safety and safety and data quality. As one of two designers, um, I was focused on improving the data entry experience of clinical research coordinators and primary investigators. Investigators who were losing X number of hours. I don't know if that's per week, per patient, per year. Like, get that in there. I would actually put a link to that breakdown that you have. Yeah, where did it go? Not problem framing. It's north of that. Sorry, my mouse is a little weird. Okay, this is key. It would actually, if you told me that something you were working on saved somebody like 1,800 hours, I'd click on that to go look at it. Like, that's enough in the overview to make me actually want to go look at the case study, because that is like a direct line from you to the bottom line. Like, how can design change things? That's like boop, bottom line, like a direct line. If these people are making, let's go really light. If they're making $1 per hour, which you know they're not, this is $1,800 to $2,700 of wasted money. You know, you're saying that hours wasted translates into dollars. Okay, I can draw a direct line to you and the balance sheet in that. So we need to find a way to make reference to that in the overview, because that helps see the scope of the problem. I might not understand CRCs and PIs, but I understand time. Okay, and the big thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to distill this concept into something that the average recruiter can like grok, right? Because if they can't hold it in their head, what's the point? But if they can hold it in their head, you got a shot. They might not be able to hold PRCs and form releases and FDA requirements. They might not be able to hold all that in their head, but they can hold time savings. They get that. Okay? So you've got something here, and I'm glad you've bolded it. I want you to make a reference to it in the overview, and then link to the section. Okay? So that they can see the scope, they can see how you got to that number. All right. When I started at TrialSpark, physicians were not accustomed to using pilot software independently. Instead, they relied on research coordinators to help them sign in and navigate to the appropriate forms that required action. Pilot at the time was simply not built to support physicians' workflows. For example, there were no visual indicators from the homepage directing physicians to the specific forms that require the review. Moreover, the system lacked simple micro-interactions like tooltips and progress indicators to make it easier for users to understand where to go and anticipate what will happen next. Obviously, this was inefficient. Coordinators had to repeatedly wait long hours, 5 hours plus, after a patient visit to meet with physicians to get signatures. This is especially inconvenient because TrialSpark coordinators were not permanently stationed at these sites, often traveling to multiple sites in a day. Though securing signatures at the end of the patient visit was an ideal scenario, it was rarely feasible. Then COVID happened, which sparked a team-wide initiative to support and streamline remote sign-off. So I think we've kind of covered a couple of ways to update this. Problem framing. Technology was advancing faster than FDA regulation, causing friction with form sign-off. maybe you're right. Maybe technology is too broad. Maybe it's and maybe it's actually even broader to say uh, industry advancements. Industry advancements are moving faster than FDA regulation, which is causing friction with form sign off. And what I mean by industry advances is like you've got these PIs and CRCs that are, or you got these CRCs, I believe, that are moving from place to place to place. I have to go back and make sure. Yeah, the coordinators are moving from place to place to place. That's an advancement in the industry. That's not a technological advancement. That is a advancement in how they work to get more. You're getting more people into the loop. You're making the trials more accessible. But the problem that comes with that is the fact that you can't get the sign off. So that is not a technological advancement. That is an industry advancement. The industry is advancing faster than FDA regulations can address, causing friction with this form sign off. This is a problem because clinical CRCs are blocked without these signatures, causing them to wait unnecessarily long hours after a patient leaves to physically meet with PIs. Remote patient visits are becoming more common, meaning that PIs and CRCs need to be able to execute all study tasks autonomously. So that's the first version of this. The second version is clinical research coordinators are blocked without signatures, causing them to wait unnecessarily long hours. This seems like the same thing. Like I'm not. Yeah, I think that's exactly the same thing. So I'm a little confused what we want to do here. I think I would reframe this top bit just a bit. And yeah, we talked about that form yesterday. Okay, so we've got some options here. Again, I like the overview. I would definitely. I think there's some adjustment. It's between. There's some bits from the two of these that you can bring together. And then I really believe that once you get down to here, I want to get a reference to this up here, so it drags them down into the case study. You saved 1,800 hours. I want to know how. Okay, I want to know how you got. I want to know how you got to that number. And then we can move forward from there. All right, I want to check. It looks like. Oh goodness, Melanie, that's not great. Mice, eek. You know what you need? You need like an awesome cat. That's what you need. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up for the day. So, without further ado, I'm going to kick this back over. Hope this has been helpful. Great work, Eve. You've got some adjustments to make to not HelloFresh, gosh, Fresh Market. HelloFresh is a competitor. You've got some adjustments to make to Fresh Market, but I think that you're moving along the right path. Rebecca, just we've pushed up a bit of code to get you unstuck, but now we need to get in there and style it. And I think that's well within your realm. Melanie, you've got some really good details in that case study that I think are going to make people want to consume more of it. We need to structure it so that it is more enticing to draw somebody in, and then I think there's just minor adjustments for clarity. But good job overall, everybody. Good job. Good Friday. I like it. If you've got questions, you know where to reach me over here on the Discord. Tedrell brought up the idea of having a happy hour. Should we do that? Should we have a happy hour? What works best for you folks? Is it evenings? Is it mornings? The one thing I'll say is, we're all over the planet, so it's not like it may be wine o'clock for some of you, and it may be donut o'clock for others. It may be wine and donut o'clock at the same time. You do you. But I will. Let's get out of the madness. Let's kind of let this week settle, and maybe next week we'll get a happy hour in the books. All right. Okay. Chris Courtney for New Pragmatic. I will see you all again later.